All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Town Council meeting for the Town of Bladensburg for Monday, June 10th, not July. I'm jumping the gun. Thank you for joining us tonight, whether you're here with us in person or tuning in from home. At this time, we're now called to order, and we'll begin tonight's meeting with the opening prayer. Councilmember Dixon, would you mind doing the opening prayer, please?
Father, we thank you for your love. We thank Father, we thank you for your love. We thank you for your grace. We thank you for your mercy, God. And as we come to this evening, God, to discuss and to make decision on the resident behalf, God, I pray, God, that you will guide us. And I pray, God, that you will continue to be with us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Councilmember Dixon. At this time, we'll stand for those who are able for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, we'll proceed down the agenda to the approval of tonight's agenda. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Councilmember Dixon. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any corrections or edits to the agenda? I noticed we didn't have the times carried throughout and wanted to get council input. We do have a presentation from Patriotic Committee member Renee Green, so I would say 3 minutes for that. Does that sound okay with the council?
Yes.
And then for approval of the minutes, I would just say 5 minutes if that works for everyone. Should be less than that. And then for public comments, I don't believe we received any public comments, but we have one signed up. Okay, so we'll just leave that at 5 minutes. We may have another. And then for a financial business, given we need to recess and go into the constant yield hearing, say 10 minutes for that process. And then under new business, we do have quite a bit, but we did discuss everything that is on here in the work session, so it should move pretty quickly. Is 20 minutes okay, or do you want me to? Yes, since we discussed it earlier, okay. Or less, yes ma'am, yes ma'am. And then we have staff reports followed by mayor and council reports. Okay, thank you everyone for that. So with that, those edits, I'll now call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it, and I believe Councilmember McBride is going to help us stay on track with the timer. She's ready. She has it in her hand, ready to go. So with that, we'll jump right in with the next item, which is a presentation from Ms. Renee Green for the Patriotic Committee, and I believe she's joining us online. She's not there? Oh.
Okay.
Not there, okay.
Yep.
We will continue on. If she comes into the meeting, we can always circle back. Next, item number 6 is approval of council meeting minutes for Monday, May 13th. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember
Second.
Brown, seconded by Councilmember Dixon. Any corrections or edits to the minutes for the May 13th meeting? Yes.
Spelling error. In the financial business, the word yield is misspelled.
Okay.
It is.
And then
It is.
also under staff reports, under the section for public safety, just Chief Collington's name needs to be corrected there, and then same for Officer Reinhardt's last name. And then under adjournment, it says we adjourned the meeting at 7:05, which is a record for a meeting that started at 7 o'clock. We were all talking like Mickey Mouse. So that just needs to be amended.
Yeah.
Any other corrections? Oh,
Mayor and council reports.
under mayor and council report.
11.
11. Oh, no, it's on the minutes, council member, on here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, and you tore your paper out.
I'm taking it.
And then on resolution 12-2024, the last paragraph, it says major, which I appreciate, but mayor is probably better. If you call me major, I might start acting like I'm a police officer.
I told you.
Did you see it, Mayor?
She got her name back.
On the minutes?
No, right here.
Oh, on the actual agenda? Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, my
Okay,
bad.
that's all right, that's all right. Okay, so, yes, council member? Got it, okay. So with that, I'll now call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it, thank you. And I marked this up, town administrator, if you need the edits. Next, in terms of minutes from council meetings, the town council held a closed session on May 15th, and the meeting was called into closed session pursuant to general provisions, Article 3-305, Section B3, Section B4, and Section B7. We adjourned the meeting a little after 7 and made some decisions regarding economic development to advance the town of Bladensburg. Similarly, on May 20th, at the end of the town budget work session, the town council also held a closed session at 7 p.m. And that was pursuant to general provisions, Article 3-305, Section B4. And we ended that closed session again after 7 p.m. and made a decision regarding a real estate matter. With that, let me just go back to the May 15th meeting. Is there a motion to approve those closed session minutes by the council?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Brown. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Dixon. Any corrections or edits to the minutes? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. And similarly, for a closed session meeting minutes for May 20th, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Dixon. Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Councilmember Blunt. Were there any corrections or edits to the minutes? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. So all three sets of minutes have been approved. And that concludes item 6 on the agenda. And then I see what you mean, Councilmember Brown, on the agenda. So when we get down to the reports, I'll just note that. Yep. Okay. So next we'll move into item 7, which is public comments. And we have Ms. Susan McCutcheon who signed up. And while she's coming up, we're so happy to have Marlon with us from Councilmember Jolene Ivy's office. Proud Bladensburger. Over to you, Ms. McCutcheon.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and Council, and very respected and appreciated staff of Bladensburg, who work all very, very hard, probably even more than the council members. I'm not sure, but possibly. I wanted to mention about the maglev project. There's nothing, the superconducting magnetic levitation project, there is nothing written that we have seen, but we are getting whispers that the Federal Railroad Administration, while still having the project on pause, is quietly meeting with agencies to go over paperwork and their comments on the maglev train. The agencies potentially impacted. So the project is on pause. However, there seems to be action coming, so we don't know. We would not be surprised to see suddenly an environmental impact statement, whether supplemental or another draft environmental impact statement, pop up with a 30-day comment period. And of course, the Maryland Coalition for Responsible Transit will jump into action with a campaign to extend the comment period. It's usually 30 days, which is really insufficient for a lot of conceptual design, et cetera, to really review it. So just kind of keep your ears open for anything happening, because we think there's a lot of action happening, but we're just not being told about it. I'm on the steering committee, the community steering committee for the sector plan for the port towns. It was a lovely community event on Saturday, Comar Manor. I saw Councilmember Dixon. I got there later, so it was over at Comar Manor, and they really are reaching out to the community. I hope they really mean they're reaching out to the community. I don't know, sometimes one doubts, but they are having a lot of events, and I've encouraged people to come out. And if you can reach me, Town Hall, please, and anybody you want to find out my email, if you have ideas, send me your ideas and I'll forward them on. So please feel free to do that. And finally, I was glad to see the community grants are back, although we did get funding. We Lead by Example Inc. got funding from the federal funds last year. But I'm glad to see it's back. I only want to make one comment. The fillable form is funky at the beginning, like huge type, small type, the more type, and it's like really weird. It just, and I was going, did I do something wrong? And it could have been, but it is a little funky. But I appreciate that it's more streamlined. And it's very easy to fill out, and you should do it. Go for it. I mean, you need some nonprofit needs some assistance, and you're doing it for the community. Fill it out. Go for it. Thank you very much. That's about all I have this evening. Thank you. Oh, I didn't say I live on Spring Road. Sorry. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. McCutcheon. And again, Marlon, I don't know if you have any updates from Councilmember Ivy's office that you want to share. It's up to you. No pressure. Okay. Okay.
I'm actually not. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for being here, and thank you to Chief and all the other Bladensburg staff. You do all an amazing job. Nobody can thank the municipal staff enough, I think. I'm actually not here in my capacity as, I represent Councilmember Jolene Ivy, but of course, if you need anything from the county, I'm just here as a Bladensburg resident. I have a small ask from the council members and the mayor, but we can discuss it later. I'm launching my own social impact project this summer through the School of Public Policy at University of Maryland. So I'm going to be launching a Latino political empowerment. And so I would love to meet with each of you individually, together, multiple times. You'll be seeing a lot of me. So thank you.
First of all, congratulations on that initiative, and I look forward to talking to you more about it. And we are so proud of all the good work that you're doing. You're just making us proud, Marlon, so great job. All right, so that concludes public comments for tonight's meeting. And so we'll transition over to financial business. At this time, we will recess the council meeting to go into the constant yield hearing, which is required by law anytime that you are having an increase in the tax base. And so at this time, I'll call for a motion to recess the council meeting.
Also move.
Moved by Councilmember Blunt. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Sorry.
We need green.
Oh, okay. We'll have to hold until we finish the hearing. So at this time, I would like to turn it over to our town administrator and treasurer, Tonelli, to take us through any public comments received regarding the constant yield rate.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. As of this moment, we have not gotten any comments from the public. They've been available. We filed our ad, and it was printed in the Prince George's Post on, I believe, is that May 30th? May 23rd, 2024, and May 30th, 2024. So in accordance to law, we did it twice, and it's also been posted out in front of the town hall and attached to the agenda. And online, and it was posted online as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. So as was stated, we do not have any public comments for the constant yield hearing. Mr. Tonelli, did you want to read the notice now or just wait until?
Do we need to read should we read the ordinance, or should we read the notice or the ordinance? Because the notice only says that, I can read the ordinance, read the notice.
Yeah, that's probably better. if you
Yeah,
don't-
the ordinance
Okay.
includes the,
The notice.
Notice,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
So do you want me to read that at this
If
time?
you could, please.
Yes. This is the first reading of this ordinance took place on May 20th, 2024. This is the second reading on June 10th, 2024. This is the proposed FY 2025 budget ordinance 01-2025. An ordinance to levy the real property and personal property rates and appropriate and adopt the operating budget of the town of Bladensburg, mayor and council, for the fiscal year 2025, starting July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. Be it enacted and ordained that by the mayor and council of Bladensburg, that pursuant to the authority of Article 501 of the Charter of the town of Bladensburg, the town budget for the year's fiscal year 2025 is attached hereto. Be it further enacted and ordained by the town of Bladensburg that the Bladensburg Council that the single-family residential property tax levy for the year commencing July 1st, 2024 be in the same set by 74 cents per hundred of full assessment on all taxable real property located within the corporate limits of the town of Bladensburg. Be it further enacted by the mayor and town council of Bladensburg that commercial property levy for the fiscal year July 1, 2024 be the same hereby set at 74 cents per 100 of the full value on all taxable real property located within the corporate limits of the town of Bladensburg. Be it further enacted and ordained that by the town council of Bladensburg that the apartment tax levy for the year commencing July 1, 2024 be set at 80 cents per 100 of the full value assessment on all taxable real property located within the corporate limits of the town of Bladensburg. Be it further enacted that the town's business personal property levy for the year commencing July 1 be the same and set at $2.09 per $100 of assessed value of all taxable business personal property within the corporate limits of the town of Bladensburg. Be it further enacted and ordained by the town council and mayor of the town of Bladensburg that business personal tax levy for public utilities and railroads for the fiscal year commencing July 1, 2024 be the same and set by as $2.75 per 100 of the full assessed value on all taxable business personal property within the corporate limits of the town of Bladensburg. Now, be it further ordained by the mayor and council that the general operating budget for fiscal 2025, which is attached, is ready to be adopted. Be it again further ordained that the adoption of this ordinance is the same authenticated by the signature of the mayor and the town clerk and recording among the town books and kept for the purpose of a certified copy to be posted on the town hall in public view for no less than 10 days after its passage. And be it further enacted and ordained that this shall be effective on July 1, 2024, and for the reading of this in two separate meetings, which was fulfilled on May 20th and June 10th, 2024. Introduced by the mayor and council of the town of Bladensburg at the special council meeting on May 20th, and thereafter this ordinance is prominently posted at town hall and available for public inspection by order of the mayor and town council. Attest, Michelle Bailey Hedgepeth, acting clerk, and Takesha James, mayor.
Thank you, Town Administrator Bailey Hedgepeth, for reviewing the ordinance. So again, at this time, we don't have any public comment, and so we can go ahead and close the constant yield and tax rate hearing. Is there a motion to adjourn? Moved by Councilmember Dixon. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Brown. Any comments or questions before the vote? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. The constant yield and tax rate hearing is now closed, and we are reopening and reconvening the regular council meeting. And so in this similar vein, we are going to proceed with the approval of hopefully proceed with the approval of the FY 2025 budget. Before beginning, I did just want to share from the charter. So this is under the Town Administrator section, which is Article 4 of the Town Charter. Section E states the duties of the Town Administrator. And when it comes to just helping the public to understand why we rely on the town administrator to be so vocal in the budget planning process. Technically, according to our charter, it is her responsibility to prepare and present the budget to the town council. And she, of course, partners with our town treasurer, with the chief of police, our public works supervisor, our code enforcement supervisor, a plethora of staff. But really, according to the charter, it's her responsibility to champion that, the work that goes into preparing the budget. So I lost my little sticky note, but reading from Section E, Powers and Duties, the town administrator is the chief administrative officer of the town and shall serve at the pleasure of the council. The town administrator shall see that all laws and ordinances are faithfully executed and perform other duties as required by the council that are not inconsistent with these laws. The town administrator may head more than one department with the approval of the council and shall be responsible to the council for a proper administration of all affairs of the town. To this end, the town administrator shall, Section 2 or Subpoint 2, prepare the annual budget and submit it to the council with a message describing its important features, administer the budget after adoption, prepare and submit to the council at the end of the fiscal year an annual report. So again, for residents who've been tuning in, we just wanted you to be aware this is part of Michelle's job, to make sure that she is leading the charge with the presentation of the budget, but primarily the burden is on her to ensure that it is implemented after the council does our job of voting and deliberating very diligently on the budget. And so with that, Town Administrator Bailey Hedgepeth, I'll turn it over to you for the proposed budget presentation.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. So tonight, we are proud to present the fiscal year 2025 budget for the town of Bladensburg. I've developed a budget message that kind of overviews where we are. I'm not going to read that to you because at the standpoint that we are finalizing all this information, but hopefully as we move through the next few years, this process will be much more streamlined. What I did want to kind of take a moment to do is one, thank staff, which is what I do in my message, for the work that we've done so far and all of the things that we've accomplished this year. We've accomplished a lot as far as expanding our police services, adding the SAT team. We've added our public works beautification team this year. We've implemented a lot of the consulting contracts that the council has asked us to do as far as having an economic development person. We have L.A. Perez, who does a great job with our legislative affairs. We have two great grant coordinators who have been able to bring in money for the town, Mr. John O'Connor and Monarch Butterfly under Veronica Owens, and they've both done a great job in bringing in some additional funds. Staff has been able to put in some other grant applications from traditional sources that we haven't been able to apply to over the year. And been able to do those processes and get money from the county for CDBG, which is now funding $250,000 worth of projects that are in this fiscal year. We just were notified that we will be receiving just today another $245,000 from the county for CDBG projects. So I think that's admirable from the standpoint of, and it's for more sidewalks replacements that we worked with throughout the town. So those are things that we've done. I don't want to I also want to make sure that I'm not remiss in thanking Mr. Reinhardt as well for the work that he's doing with his team in code enforcement. I think we work all as a team. Mr. Hall's team is always here for me, and as I said in the beginning, Chief Collington, and thank you, Chief Dickerson, for being here today for this presentation of the budget. Mr. Tonelli will do a brief overview of the funds, where we are. We've also provided a couple more graphs that kind of show you where we were in previous years. The only other part that we want to add this year that I think that wasn't in previous years is information on our staffing, our current staffing, because I think there's always been a little bit of confusion, like how many staff are in this department, how many staff are in that department. So we made that very clear this year. We have 57.5 FTEs in fiscal year 2025, which is, we're growing as a town. We thought we were just at the 50 mark. We're adding 3 part-time positions in our public works that are actually look like 2.25. So, but they're 3 people. So, and we have another one, and there's another point person in the half a person in a 0.75 person in the police department. So you have 2 cadets, which are 0.75 apiece. But we're very proud of this budget. I think that we've done a great job kind of listening to the council, putting together some things. The only caveats that we have put in there, which I would like the council to know, we are in deficit spending in this fiscal year because we're actually funding this part of this program year from our reserves. And then as we look at some issues in the future, we will have to look at the way that if we have some kinds of, we're anticipating some inflation in the fiscal 25. And I think that's why our numbers are up a little bit more, but we see that there's some fiscal pressures that we could definitely, could see over the next few years that may have effects on our budget. So in 26, we'll come to you early. Probably we'll start in December so that we can start to look at where we are in 25 as 26, so that if you have issues and we see that there may be possibilities that revenues may not get better. We did make some changes with the council adopting changes of the taxing, but we will look at those, and we're going to start earlier. The other part of that we added to the budget this year are the dates that we've met. And we've kind of outlined that very succinctly for you, but I'm going to suggest in 26 that we start talking about the budget. Probably, Mr. Tonelli does a great job every month of talking about where we are with money. He really does, but I will have to say that, but the budget itself probably will start a little bit earlier next year and probably start in November, December. Would you agree, Mr. Tonelli? Before, as you take it on. So next, I'm just going to pivot slowly to Mr. Tonelli.
Thanks. And Mayor, thanks for stating about, I always said there's a town administrator's budget all the way up until adoption by the mayor and council, and then it becomes the mayor and council budget. And actually, I'm lucky to have Michelle, who's has been the most hands-on, the town administrator, to help me with the budget. So it's spreads out the work and also validates it and helps us. She has a photographic memory too, so it's great backup for me. So it's okay, so I'm just going to take a few minutes because we've talked about this. I think this will be our 6th or 7th official budget meeting. Unofficially, I think we can throw 2 or 3 more in since we've been talking about this since January. The summary page, which is in your packet and is also online. I'm just going to touch on this. I'm going to go to a couple graphs. The total budgeted revenues are almost $13 million for FY25. To be exact, it's $12,956,736. Okay. So we're just going to call it a $13 million budget. So for rounding purposes, and it's a 6% increase in revenues over this current fiscal year, and the main driver of that is the increased property tax assessments, and they increased just over 6% this year. So that helps fund the increase in revenues. And we also are bringing on additional traffic safety measures, which are going to produce additional revenues as well for fines and infractions. We have our, the transfer from fund balance is at 4% of our budget. And just to show you, well, I'll get that graph in a few minutes. Historically, we transferred between 4 and 8%. It's not a true transfer. It is a budgeted transfer on paper. Now, because our expenditures right now exceed our revenues, but we're not even into July 1 yet, and there's going to be a whole lot of stuff happening next year. Historically, we've always had a surplus, but when we have a surplus, it means we didn't invest in something in the town as well. So we've had surplus after surplus every year, and this year we are investing into the town things that we have just put off. I mean, we can't keep putting off building maintenance and things like that. So eventually you have to pay for it, but we have the reserves to do that. And also we've increased staffing to deliver the services that we need for public safety and for public works. I'm going to go down to here's a quick graph of our 3-year change in revenues. You can see from FY23, last fiscal year, this current fiscal year, to projected next fiscal year. The largest changes there are on the left for real estate taxes because of the increased property tax assessments. And over there, more towards the middle, is state funding because we're going to use the bond bill money
You mean for the 250, the
Yes.
500, the 800,000?
Yes, okay,
For
thank
both
you.
the town hall and for the, for Boswick.
So that's why I made it a photographic memory. I can't pull stuff off, so that's great support. And service charges are increasing because to bring the red light cameras online. And our graph there. Okay, so department expenditures, the smaller ones all combined are the mayor and council, town administrator, clerk, and finance. They make up 14% of our budget. Those are the first 4 there on the left. And as you can see, there's not much change because, again, they're these smaller departments. We get the public safety. We do have an increase for increased staffing. We brought the SAT team online this year. And we've also had other increases for insurances, especially workers' compensation and liability insurance, fuel costs, software contracts. Public Works is a small increase because of additional staffing. You can see where the ARPA funding has fallen off because the ARPA program is almost completed. Just to get down to a summary of the administrative staff, this is all for the small departments, as I said, combined. And you can see the total increase, I'm sorry, I'm flying through this, is 7% over this fiscal year, and that is because of increase for contractual services to bring an HR consultant online, also increase in professional development, and some small increases across the board as well, such as in membership for, because of the trade organization, membership cost has increased. So that is our administrative departments. Public safety. What's interesting here is as much as we've grown, it's a 2% increase over this current fiscal year. Now, we did increase a lot this current fiscal year over FY23. Now, it's kind of went like this, and now we've leveled off some. Some, okay. Yes, yes, ma'am. There you
I
go.
know earlier I asked you a question in regards to earlier you talked about the fire department.
Correct.
Can you just explain that for those
Yes.
who weren't on early?
Under the mayor and council department budget, and actually just under the administrative department budget, I'm going to go up here real quick. There's our administrative department. You can see this line here, line 6226, fire department donation. We touched on this a little bit at the work session. This is the donation the town makes to Bladensburg Volunteer Fire Department, number 9 next door. And this is to help offset their cost, because they do have cost, and they only have a couple streams of funding over there. This started out just a few $1,000s many years ago, and we've been able to increase that up to $30,000 this year. And when we do this, it shows the county that we have a dog in the fight, pretty much. And the more we contribute to the fire department like this, the residents receive an offset, a small percentage decrease in their real estate taxes from the county.
Right.
So instead of residents having to pay the full boat of the real estate taxes to the county, Bladensburg residents receive a discount called a tax differential for public safety services provided, which includes fire department monetary donations. We were also fortunate enough last fiscal year, or 2 fiscal years ago, to purchase a $400,000 state-of-the-art ambulance for the town, which they desperately need, and it's the first time the town has been able to do that. So we're fortunate to use the ARPA funds for that. And again, the town does see this and increase services from the fire department, but also has an offset to the taxes they pay as well.
Thank you, Mr. Vito.
No problem. I like talking about that, and, anytime we give something back to the residents. Public Works, we increased the staffing. We brought on 3 part-time workers. That's in the budget right now. There's a decrease in the sanitation contract because we are in a contract now rather than paying month to month. And as you can see, compared to last fiscal year, this fiscal year, it's actually a decrease of 1% in spending because of the decreased contract costs, and also we're not purchasing any new equipment this year. Next fiscal year. And ARPA, there's going to be funds left over, and we have it tagged here for community development and redevelopment activities, and also for town initiatives as well, including food assistance. And lastly, I know everybody's like, yay, the transfer from fund balance history, I just like to show that. I'm sorry, no. This is the COLA history. Yeah, I'm sorry.
This is not the
Okay.
fund balance history.
I'm going to show the transfer from fund balance history real quick. Budget transfer from fund balance.
Yeah, budgeted transfer.
Yes. I'm sorry for members of the audience, I can't see this that well, but you can see how it's going across here. FY18, you can see where our budget was at almost 6.5 million. We had a 5% transfer budgeted from fund balance. See how it goes across FY19. The revenues have pretty much stayed the same all the way until FY22. FY23, when the COLA funds came in, we started seeing the the ARPA funds came in, and here's where you start seeing the speed camera funds. That's where it jumps from, your $6-7 million up to the $12 to $13 million range we're in now. But the transfer from fund balance has gone, if you look down here at the bottom, has gone anywhere from 5% to 7% to 8%, and now we're back down to 4% budget transfer from fund balance. So that's it in a summary. If anybody has any questions.
Great. Thank you for the recap, and also for just helping us work through all the work sessions and the back and forth and updates. And just hearing what you said, Mr. Tonelli, about the fund balance, the budgeted fund
Budgeted,
balance.
yeah.
And I know Town Administrator Bailey Hedgepeth mentioned the term deficit spending, but really based upon lower expectations for the traffic cameras, which will generate revenue from the people who run the red light cameras. We intentionally are under budgeting in that area. We're not factoring in dollar
Conservatively
amounts.
budgeting.
Well, conservatively. And then we're also not including some of the grant funding that the town administrator mentioned a few moments ago. So with that in mind, are you still concerned that it's deficit spending? Or is it just that's your conservative view, but we are in good shape based on these other funds that we're planning to have come through? Because I think that term
Yeah.
will be concerning to residents, and we don't want to give the wrong impression.
I mean, we've had a surplus, I think, every year, even though we budget like this, just because, as you said, we budget conservatively in revenues. But I mean, like, for an example, I mean, the fund balance reserves that we have been building, like, I think there's $700,000 of fund balance in the speed camera that we didn't use last year. We brought that forward in order to pay for additional staffing and also for the 6 cameras that we have around. So that's when, we pull from a fund balance, but that's already been, it's already been made and earned. It's just pretty much a timing difference of when it's actually spent. So as soon as the fiscal year closes out, if you don't use the money, it builds into a fund balance. But, eventually, we do need to use that because, it's anytime you build a fund balance, you're offsetting something you did not do. So it's, it's great that we do it, but, and our revenues always exceed the expenses just because I'm very conservative on the revenue estimates. I'd rather be conservative on that and go a little bit more, aggressive on budgeting the expenses, because I always want to budget like worst case scenarios, so.
And it's worked out well because it puts us in a better position overall. But any questions from the council before we move to adopt the FY 2025 budget? Councilmember Dixon?
Mr. Vito,
Yes, hey.
we just want to clarify, make it clear to our resident, when we talk about the 25K for the Boys and Girls Club, as Councilmember Blunt mentioned earlier, asked a question earlier, you just wanted to make sure the resident aware actually that this is for the town of Bladensburg Boys and Girls Club.
Michelle, you want to answer that?
That's on page 13.
Yeah, that is, we are referring to the project that was brought by the council for us to work with the Prince George's County Boys and Girls Club in Bladensburg. So yes, that contract is being contemplated with that $25,000. Councilwoman, is that what you're asking?
Just want the town to know that it's actually for the town of Bladensburg.
Yeah, it's for the, it's for the town of Bladensburg, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Any other comments or questions? All right, so, yes, Councilmember?
I would just like to, thank Mr. Vito and our town administrator, Mrs. Bailey Hedgepeth, for all the hard work that you all been doing in preparation, especially over the past several months. With your tireless efforts, because it does take a lot to do it, and with the presentations and how you all present and break things down, so that residents can really understand and be clear in terms of what's happening. So I just want to say thank you all for your hard work.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown, for that. So with that, is there a motion to adopt the proposed FY 2025 budget ordinance number 001-2025?
So move.
Moved by Councilmember McBride, seconded by Councilmember Dixon. Any comments or questions? I did just want to note, we read through the entire ordinance in the constant yield hearing. TA, do you have to read it again now, or are we covered? Unless you just want to one more time.
I think that you can motion that is as read in the constant yield hearing, since we've read the entire, I think you can motion that.
Okay.
Make
Are
that
you
part of your
okay
motion.
with that amendment to the motion? Okay. So with that, I'll now call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. We have adopted the FY 2025 budget, and to Councilmember Brown's point, yes. We appreciate all the hard work that was put into it, and also the delivery of the content. We can tell you put a lot of time into making the information easier for not just us, but the community to be able to digest. So thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Blunt, for noting one of the financial items that we needed to have on the agenda for tonight was discretionary funds from the council. Since we're under financial business, and before we go to Ms. Green for patriotic updates, is everyone okay with us going to our discretionary funds? Because we need to expend those before the end of the fiscal year. It's $500 that the council gets to help local organizations that are servicing Bladensburg residents, and so, or the Bladensburg community. So just want to open that up so we can get a list of what the requests are, and then do one vote, if that's okay with everyone. We'll do one motion listing out all of the directives and then vote on it. Does that work? Okay. So with that, I'll start to my right. Councilmember McBride, I'll come to you first with how you would like to disperse your discretionary funds. Make sure I write it down right.
Good evening. I'm going to use my discretionary funds to help the Now Foundation. Mr. Drew.
All right, thank you for that, council member. And the full amount, the full 500?
The full 500.
Okay, thank you. All right, council member Blunt?
Okay, the full 500 to Barbara Gibbons for her program that she does with the seniors.
Is it okay if I call it GATS, if I use the acronym for the vote?
Thank
Okay.
you. I always use that in the names.
all
I'm
right.
sorry.
And I can write it out, yeah,
sorry.
after the meeting and give it to you. But for the motion, I'll just refer to the acronym GATS. And similarly with Now Foundation, do the acronym NOW. Okay. Councilmember Brown?
Thank you, Mayor. I have a question. I want to donate mine to two students in the town of Bladensburg who may want to attend the public playhouse theater program. I think their program is a 2-week program. Their program is like $250 for every 2 weeks. So I wanted to support two students in the town of Bladensburg who may want to go to the theater summer camp at the public playhouse.
So what would be the organization that the 500 would go
Yeah.
to? Because what I'm thinking is we would just
Yeah, 'cause
contact the nonprofit, cover the registration for two students, which would total your
Yeah.
discretionary funds.
yes.
And what's the name of the organization?
Yeah, that's just it. I haven't identified the organization,
Okay.
but that's where I want my
So
funds
Mayor,
to go.
perhaps it might be helpful to do it to MMPCCC Public Playhouse for now. And then what we could do is if there is another organization, we could find out that organization that runs that summer camp, because you're saying at the public
At
playhouse.
the public
Okay.
playhouse, yes,
Okay.
runs a summer camp,
So
yes.
is that all right, council
That's
member, if
fine.
we just do it? Okay.
Yes, mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want at least two students have the benefit of attending the summer camp at the public playhouse.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for that, council member. And council member Dixon?
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to donate my $500 to students as well for after-school program that would like to do some activities like sports or to put it towards a scholarship. I'm not sure what organization, but
Was there a specific program in town you were thinking of? Because, for example, at the community center, they do have several
Right.
programs running through the day. And so if it were to cover, I don't have the information. So I'm wondering if
Can I put
there's a,
Can I put it towards the Bladensburg stuff? No. For 2 extra students since we're going over 30.
yes, but the issue with that is we're in this FY 2024 fiscal year, so it would be crossing over into FY 2025. But if you wanted to use it, for example, to help Bladensburg Elementary School, as they're doing some end of the year celebrations and things to recognize their students, I know
Yeah.
it would be helpful for the staff there, or, you know, if there's another organization in town that you're working with. Okay,
Bladensburg Elementary School.
okay. Yes, ma'am. And the full 500?
All of it.
Okay.
Let's Councilmember Brown want to give me hers.
Okay. I don't think she's gonna do that. All right. And then to round it out, so I would like to donate my full 500 to We Lead by Example Incorporated, because they do continue to do a great job helping our young people build self-esteem and also just develop maturity and leadership. I've personally seen some of the shyest kids come in there who won't even look you in the eye when they talk to you, but come through that program after a couple of years, just so mature and polished, and then looking to help the students who come after them. So with that in mind, I would now call for a motion to approve distribution of the FY 2024 council discretionary funds in the following format. For Councilmember McBride, $500 to Now Foundation. For Councilmember Blunt, to GATS, which is the Domestic Violence Organization, in the amount of 500, in the amount of 500. For Councilmember Brown, to MNC PPC for 2 Bladensburg students to attend the summer camp program for 2 weeks. For Councilmember Dixon, for Bladensburg Elementary School, in the amount of $500. And for Mayor James, for We Lead by Example, in the amount of $500. Is there a motion? Moved by Councilmember Dixon. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Brown. Any further comments or questions? I just want to thank the council for putting that money in the budget so we can make a direct impact on some of the smaller organizations who do so much to help our community. So with that, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. So now we will get into the new business, the fun stuff that we talked about in the work session. So, Town Administrator, oh, wait, I'm sorry, Miss Renee, sorry.
Yeah, Miss Renee.
Sorry. We're coming back, Miss Green. We're ready to roll through.
Mute myself. Okay. Good evening. Thank you, Mayor James and council members and town staff. I apologize. I was running a little late this evening. Memorial Day was very successful. It started to rain, but we went right on through with the program. It turned out fantastic. And the lunch at the American Legion was very good too. However, the American Legion did express a problem with, we provide $100 for the lunch, but I was told that it costs about $230 for the lunch. So we might need to revisit how much we donate for the lunch or make some type of arrangements, because it seems like the American Legion is having some financial issues, and it's difficult for them to provide whole lunch. The other thing is that the grass needed to be mowed. at the Peace Cross. And the flag needs to be replaced because it's fraying. And there was one more item. Yes. Oh, there's a grate that needs to be replaced or looked at the Peace Cross. It's like a big hole. And if anyone was to be walking around in that area, there could be a problem. So there's a couple issues going on in that area at the Peace Cross. The other thing I wanted to let everyone, or remind everyone about the fireworks celebration for Independence Day will be on Friday, July 5th. And that will be from 6 to 9:30. And then we also had the Battle of Bladensburg 210th anniversary ceremony that will be on Saturday, August the 24th at 11 o'clock.
Thank you so much for those updates, Ms. Green. And if you wouldn't mind just emailing the town administrator those items that you noted about the request for repairs. I definitely think we can help, though, with respect to the American Legion luncheon and helping them to cover those costs, because that is a huge part of that event, is the fellowship afterwards and having the opportunity to connect with community members, veterans, families of those who paid the ultimate sacrifice for this country. And we wouldn't want to see them lose that opportunity to come together and honor the lives of those who've lost their lives paying the ultimate sacrifice. So you can count on us for that. And
Awesome. I knew I could.
yeah. And Town Administrator, I was just asking if Ms. Green could share the list of items that she had rattled off about the flag and so on, so we can try to help support getting those things addressed. Any questions or comments from the council? Thank you, as always, for continuing to help us with our patriotic events. I'm sorry I couldn't be there for the Memorial Day celebration, but we were well represented with the folks sitting up here at the dais. So thank y'all so much for being there and hosting. Wonderful. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the fireworks.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
You too. So Town Administrator Bailey Hedgepeth, I hope you got a sip of water. I think
Thank
you have
you.
a lot of reading with the resolutions that are coming up, so I'll turn it over to you.
Hello, Mayor and Council. So the first resolution is resolution number 13-2024. This is a resolution in support of the town's application for the state and local cybersecurity program, SLCGP. Whereas the state and local cyber grant program, SLCGP, aims to assist local governments in rural areas and territories in addressing cybersecurity risks, threats, and to information systems. And whereas this program enables the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, to make targeted cybersecurity investments in state, local, and territorial government agencies, therefore by enhancing the security of critical infrastructure, improving the resilience of government services to their communities. And whereas the town of Bladensburg is seeking funding through SLCGP to replace end-of-life infrastructure and enhance the security of the town's networks and systems, the town recognizes the importance of robust cybersecurity measures in protecting the town and its residents for potential attacks on critical infrastructure. And also whereas the town supports the application of these funds and pledges support for the town administrator in the completion of this vital project. Now there be it resolved that the town of Bladensburg fully supports the application for the state and local government's grant program to secure funding for the replacement of out-of-date infrastructure and enhancement of town cybersecurity measures. There be it further resolved that the town council commits to supporting the town administrator in efforts to successfully complete this project and ensure that continued protection of security for the town's critical infrastructure and information services. Be it resolved this date adopted this 10th day of June 2024 and shall take effect immediately. Attest Michelle Bailey Hedgepeth, acting town clerk, and Takesha G. James, mayor.
Thank you, Town Administrator, and I'm sorry, I don't know why it's echoing now, but hopefully, Mr. Gray, you can hear us okay. Thank you for reading the resolution. I'll now call for a motion to approve Resolution Number 13-2024.
I so moved.
Moved by Councilmember Blunt. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any comments or questions regarding the resolution? I know we discussed it in the work session and unanimously agreed we need to update our infrastructure. So thank you again to staff for taking this effort to get funding for the town to do so. With that, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. Town Administrator?
The next resolution is Resolution 14-2024, resolution in support of the applications for funds with Department of Community Economic Development grant programs. Whereas the National Capital Strategic Economic Development Fund, NED, from the state of Maryland's Housing of Community Development, DCHD, is a competitive fund designed to support commercial and residential activities in targeted areas for revitalization, and whereas the Maryland Facade Program, MPIF, provides funds for local governments and programs to improve the exteriors of commercial properties located within the Maryland Sustainable Communities. The program also supports communities seeking to create consistent, attractive designs for commercial corridors in order to bolster community vitality and stimulate new private investments. And whereas these programs focus on areas where modest investments and coordinated strategies have significant impact in neighborhoods and neighborhoods revitalizations. And whereas the town of Bladensburg has recently hired a new economic development consultant from High Street Strategies who has proactively begun developing and supporting local businesses. And whereas the town will and has invested in kind ARPA funds for economic development projects, and whereas the NED funds will enable the town to support small businesses and foster growth and prosperity within the borders of a community, and whereas the town supports the applications for strategic investments and improvement projects that will enhance the community, and whereas the town council fully supports this application developed by the town administrator at the end of June 2024. Now therefore it be resolved that the town council fully supports the application for the National Capital Strategic Economic Development Fund and the Maryland Facade Improvement Program to secure funding for commercial and residential revitalization efforts and foster community growth within the town. Be it further resolved that the town council commits to supporting these efforts of the economic development consultant and the town administrator in securing these funds and executing strategic investments and improvements projects for the benefit of the community. Be it further resolved, this resolution will hereby be adopted this 10th day of June 2024 and shall take effect upon its adoption. Attest, Michelle Bailey Hedgepeth, Acting Town Clerk, and Keisha D. James, Mayor.
Thank you, Town Administrator Bailey Hedgepeth, for reading Resolution Number 14-2024. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Councilmember Dixon. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Brown. Any comments or questions regarding the resolution? We'll just say thank you and to our economic development consultant for helping with this and continuing the facade improvement for our commercial businesses. This is really going to make a huge difference. With that, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much, everyone. And next to item C, approval of service contract with Gordian.
Hi, Mayor, Council. We're seeking approval to allow the Town Council to execute an MOU with Gordian in compliance with state and local bidding exception. I'm asking Mr. Hall to briefly talk about how this contract will help him in the Public Works Department. Mr. Hall.
Thanks, Michelle Hedgepeth, and good afternoon, Mayor and Council. As we briefly spoke about it earlier, Gordian has, underneath their umbrella, they have a plethora amount of experience and knowledge through different people. So that will help us out on that will help us out on different scopes of work, such as the bridge repairs, and we also have roof repairs that we talk about, and not only just roof repairs, just infrastructure, period, to buildings, roadways, sidewalks, anything. They can do. I mean, not saying they can do it, but they can help the town move through certain situations a little bit quicker than just us staff right here doing it.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that recap, Mr. Hall. So with that background and overview, is there a motion from the council to approve the service contract for Gordian? Sorry.
I so moved.
Moved by Councilmember Blunt. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any comments or questions regarding the agreement? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Mayor.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, just very quick. I know we're gonna move through because we talked about it, during our work session. But just once again, like I was saying, looking at that vehicle to help us, streamline some things and echoing, what Mr. Hall said and the town administrator, Mrs. Billy Hedgepeth. And this right here is just something that's good for the town, something that's needed. And thank you all for bringing it, to us as well.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Brown. So with that, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. So the contract is approved. And we look forward to having a strong relationship with Gordian moving forward. Yes, Mr. Hall?
All right, but just one question. I know we said bridge, but we have multiple bridges throughout
That's
the town.
right.
So I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you. All right. Next, we'll move on to the town council meeting schedule. Town administrator, did you want to give a brief recap from the work session?
Sure, Mayor. The change of date, what we're looking is for council approval to move the June 8th meeting to July 15th. This would allow the allow the staff, due to the Independence Day holiday, to prepare the agenda and will allow us to be better prepared for that meeting. And then the other portion is the town recess, the August recess, if the council would like to do that again. So both could be made in one motion.
All right. So with that, I'll call for a motion to change the July council meeting date to July 15th, was it?
Move the July
Move the
8th.
meeting to, move the work session and council meeting to July 15th, and also to call for August recess. Is there a motion to approve?
I so moved.
Moved by Councilmember Blunt. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Brown. Any comments or questions before the vote? I thought you were going to say you don't want to have recess.
I want recess in August.
I'll call for the vote now. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. So again, for residents, do not look for us Monday, July 8th. Give us another week to recover from fireworks and all the holiday schedules, and we'll be here ready to get back to business July 15th. So next, we will move on to the 57th Avenue lighting project, and I'll turn it over to Town Administrator Hedgepeth.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We're looking for the approval of a contract with Lighting Maintenance, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $92,827.47. Staff recommends the passage of this contract because it'll to implement a project which is from a grant that we received in 2020 from the Department of Community Housing and Development for streetlights. We were not able to, we did a full scope of 40 lights. When those bids were returned, they were over $800,000, and we could not afford the full scope. So we went back out and modified the scope to 10 light poles, and we received 2 responsive and responsible bidders. We have found that Lighting Maintenance, Inc., for the amount of $192,827.47, will be able to deliver the job on time and in the manner. $42,000 for this project. $42,847 will come out of our highway maintenance fees, highway user tax. Information. So.
Excellent, thank you. And so with that, is there a motion at guidance of staff to approve the contract for Lighting Maintenance, Inc. for the 57th Avenue project not to exceed $192,827.47? Is there a motion?
So move.
Moved by Councilmember McBride. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Brown. Any comments or questions for staff before the vote? I know we talked about it in the work session and got our questions out there, but appreciate the due diligence in getting the requests for the bids for this project.
She has a question, Councilman.
Councilmember Dixon? Oh,
Thank you, Mayor James. In our session at 5:30, I did ask you a question that I want to reiterate to our viewers. Can you confirm that the total funding for this project, including the 42 grant, is secured and will be covered all anticipated expenses, and what contingency plans are in place if the budget cost exceeded the amount?
So so we will expend the full $150,000 from DCHD. We anticipate for this grant. We do have funding in our highway user fund for road repairs, which is why we're suggesting the $47,000 additional amount go from there. If there are any contingencies, we would have to come back to the council, but we would be able to afford those contingencies out of the highway user fund because we have not used it for the roadway. So we do have money left in that to pay for this. So I hope it doesn't, this is the all-in price, and there is a small contingency built in.
Thank you, Michelle.
thank you for the question, Councilmember. If there are no other questions, I'll now call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. The contract for Lighting Maintenance Incorporated is approved. Next, we'll transition over to the contract for sidewalk work using CDBG funds from PY 48, not to exceed $70,096. Is there, or sorry, Ms. Bailey Hedgepeth, before calling for the motion, do you want to give an overview?
Sure, Mayor. Thank you. So staff recommends the passage of this contract to allow the town administrator to implement the payment. The town recommends this bidder, which is Alcoa Concrete, as the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. We did receive 3 quotes. The vast difference in the price for the contracting is probably because one is a much larger, but we did have 2 very close quotes, one from Alcoa for $70,000 and the second closest at $75,20 to $244 from E&R. We bid this out as one package for both the asphalt and the concrete, but as part of the packages, we can split out portions of the work, which is what we're doing here in order to get the best price.
Mr. Hall, did you want to add anything to that?
No, ma'am. I think, unless anybody has any questions, I'll maybe answer questions.
Okay. Yep, understood. So with that, is there a motion to approve the contract for Alcoa Concrete for the amount not to exceed $70,096 for the purpose of the roadway concrete project for 57th Avenue sidewalks, ramps, 5099 Emerson House, and then also traffic control?
I so moved.
Moved by Councilmember Blunt. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any questions for staff before we take the vote on this? Again, thank you for doing your due diligence here. It's just interesting to see the gap from the highest down to the one you're recommending. But with that, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. So that's for Alcoa Concrete. And next, we will proceed with the staff recommendation that, I guess, Town Administrator, you want to give us the breakdown of this one as well? I know they're bundled, but just since we're voting on them separately.
No problem, Mayor. Thank you for, so the next one is a contract. I'm trying to make sure that I don't, I forget how big this package is with Fort Myers. I'm scrolling, so, yeah, so you guys flipping the page as I'm scrolling to get to it, so, it has to catch up a minute. So this is the secondary contract, for, once again, saying, I'm going back to the fact that this was a one bid for the CDBG project, which we were funded for about I think it's about $225,000. Still trying to get back up to the right place. But this is a contract with E&R, who came in second in the concrete work, but lowest cost in the asphalt work. We are recommending that you accept them as the lowest responsible and responsive bidder for the asphalt portion. And I'm here to answer, myself or Mr. Hall is here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Town Administrator. So with that, Mr. Hall, did you want to add anything before we go to the vote?
No, ma'am, I think we talked about it, but I can speak a little bit about, I guess we didn't talk a little bit about the location of the.
I know, you
Sorry,
keep
ma'am.
forgetting to hit the button.
Yes, ma'am, I apologize, but start back over. Location of what we're talking about, the milling and overlaying is right down here on Upson Street, right here. And as y'all know, plenty of people travel. I'm not for sure how much y'all travel it, but you know it's indeed of some repair due to all the heavy equipment that comes around through our industrial area.
Thank you for that, Mr. Hall. So with that, is there a motion to approve the contract with E&R Services for asphalt and repaving services in an amount not to exceed $68,983.20 for Upshur Street Project PY 48 with CDBG funds?
I so moved.
Moved by Councilmember Blunt. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Brown. Any comments or questions before we take the vote? Councilmember Dixon?
Microphone.
This question is for Michelle. Did they ever mention, because this is such a significant difference
Where?
between the two bids, did they ever explain why?
I would say that, from looking at the difference between the two bids, I would say that there are some substantial costs of mobilization by Fort Myers that there weren't by E&R Services. I also would say that, but from looking at the two bids for this, is that the asphalt and milling is maybe, one might have put more, have a little bit, maybe have a little bit more of a scope, but the scope was clear. We showed the copy of the map, both were offered walkthroughs. So that's all I can say, but the mobilization cost is much more for one than the other. And that would be based on size and how they're gonna look at the project. Maybe one thought the scope would be a little bit more for mobilization, but that really doesn't differentiate about why the asphalt costs so much more. I can't tell you that, ma'am.
Okay, so within the scope of work for the asphalt mailing and the overlay, does it include any additional tasks beyond mailing and overlay?
It does not. That's when I read it, when I go through their bid, I don't see that. But Mr. Hall, if you want to correct me on that, I don't see anything besides the fact that when I'm going through their bid, and it's here, the scheduling, they charge for the different amounts for Sorry, I'm going.
I noticed though with this bid and the other one, they were so much higher. And then when I looked at the reference information that was provided to us in the packet, noticing the customer base that they have, they tend to deal with larger governments and larger size projects. And so I just didn't feel that they were pricing this for a smaller town, given that they do a lot with DDOT and DC Department of Transportation and larger agencies. Maryland State Highway Administration, I noticed, was also referenced in the packet. And when you look at the size of those projects, that's the sense that I got, is they are used to doing much larger projects, and their pricing model is very different than some of these smaller companies. But
I totally agree, Mayor James. My next question was to Michelle, which you actually brought up, was what was the specific criteria that they used to determine these bids?
So yeah, so I'm going through the detail of what they provided on page 155 of your bid. When you're looking at it, the overall cost for the same amount of asphalt is $129,000. They're for the asphalt alone for the project that they're estimating, and that was the same amount of asphalt that the other company. They also are estimating money for the use of $21,000 for the use of six people for the dump truck at $21,000. A low boy rider. I mean, just their labor costs are much higher than the other one for a simple overlay and mill of a street that's 25 feet. So they're employing a crew of, let's say, 25 to 30 for a project that was like a 2-day project.
Okay.
So that's what it looks like that they've mobilized, and that's why I was saying their mobilization costs are much higher, because they're doing it, and maybe it's from the standpoint that they want to do it during the day their time frame is a little different maybe than their time of day might be how they're scheduling their timing. We did not specify that. We didn't specify that it had to be at night or during the day. So they came up with these costs, but as the mayor says, they are working with larger agencies where those might be parameters, so they bid in this way.
Do you know if they bid according to day or night?
They did that.
It's
not included.
Okay.
It's not included in the bid, so I don't know how, that's what I'm saying. It's like, we didn't say
Okay.
bid it during the nighttime that you had to do extra hours. All of our projects happen during the day.
Thank you. And what is the time frame? Explain.
The time frame of when it will
the
happen?
project, mhm.
Oh, this will happen this summer, probably by August.
Thank you, Michelle.
And the map also is there too, to kind of show you that it's not a large, expansive area. But
Thank you.
you're
all right.
welcome.
Any other questions? All right, hearing none. So I think that we had the motion on the table. We had discussion and questions. So I'll now call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. The next item was just informational. It was also discussed in the work session regarding the America in Bloom program. Did you want to say anything else about that, Town Administrator?
No, sorry, this is an opportunity that the town has engaged in to improve both our exterior and our quality of life. And I think that that's what we really, and attached is a copy of the profile, which was sent out to the council, but I wanted the community to be able to see this and to know, that these are things that are going on in your community and you need to be proud of them.
Excellent. Thank you for that update. And then similarly, did you want to go ahead and just highlight the community grant process one more time?
We have opened up the community grant process, even though the form's a bit wonky. We will get that fixed. So, no, it's not any shade. I noticed it because when I was trying to do when I was changing it from Word to Acrobat, it was wonky. So I wondered if it had persisted. So it's good to know that it persisted being wonky. So we will fix those boxes, but I think it's the nature of the way that we set up the boxes, which I think is something that Ray and I can address pretty easily. So thank you. I appreciate that, Susan. But the process is open until, I believe, the July 3rd, because we let people send us stuff all the way up into the holidays so that we can be able to bring it to council on the 15th. And I think it's just going to be a really good opportunity. Max is $2,000, and you have to serve Bladensburg residents or serve Port Town residents or serve Bladensburg and Port Town residents. And the preference is giving for serving Bladensburg residents specifically, but it's also inclusive of Bladensburg and the Port Towns as well. And that's about it. That's all I just wanted to kind of give that commercial.
Great. Councilmember Blunt?
Michelle, on that grant, do the person, is it a nonprofit, or do they have to live in Bladensburg when they, for that money, or they just have to serve the community?
In the application and the process that I saw that was what Ms. Cunningham had implemented, that's the last time that we had done it, the one I looked at, it just had that you had to serve Bladensburg residents, that we did not mandate them to live in the town, or the organization to be in the town, but what we can also do is we can note applications that are from within Bladensburg and within the port towns, so we can kind of give you that as part of your matrix so that you can also see that.
Because of course we want to prioritize Bladensburg residents. So yeah, thank you for that question, council member. So with that, we'll move on to staff reports, beginning with our town treasurer, because we have not gotten enough of the numbers tonight. So Mr. Tonelli, is that your alarm? Uh-oh. Someone's alarm is going off. All right, Mr. Tonelli?
Okay, the financial reports is enclosed. Thanks. You sit here for 4.5 hours, kind of lean on the chair and, yeah. Major, cancel that call, please. Okay, 1 second. Is it up? Okay, not to, let me see something. Okay, so this is through May. And you can see we brought in 3/4 of our, the purple column is actuals, the column to the right is budget, and all the way over to the right is what we did last fiscal year. We've received 3/4 of our revenues this fiscal year, our budget revenues. What's down is the federal funding for ARPA, because we didn't use all the funding for ARPA this year. And, but what we do have here is almost $700,000 of speed camera transfer that was earned last fiscal year, but not spent, that we brought over in this fiscal year. I have not made that transfer yet. I'm waiting for everything to wash out at the end of the fiscal year to see how much we actually need. And we also have another $500,000 of fund balance transfer that I'm not sure what we're going to need yet, because again, as I talked about in the work session, our accounting period is going to go all the way pretty much through August as we wait on revenues earned in June to be received through August. And the same with expenditures. Expenditures are easy because if they happen by June 30th, you normally pay them by second week in July. Revenues, if it's going through the state and the county, there's a lag, and especially for the automated traffic enforcement. So you can see there is a deficit there of 1.5 million, but that is before all the transfers and everything and revenue that is yet to come in. So yes, it looks bad, but we're waiting on, the balance of the revenues to come in, and I haven't made these transfers over here yet, especially from speed camera. And we've had a lot of investment this fiscal year I mean, we have probably over $70,000 for a pipe break next door, things like that, you know. As an example, you know, we don't use our building maintenance budget every year. And one time we blow right through like 2 or 3 times of it, you know, because, you know, you save up, and then when you expense it, you know, so it's, and then because of that, we replaced flooring and also wanted to update, you know, we're still here in Town Hall. We're still here for a few years in Town Hall, so we have to do some repairs and upkeep as well. We also added new, as I talked about too, the speed camera funds. We invested in the 6th light tower and camera systems. We've also invested in additional personnel and vehicles and with the upfit as well. And because the police department was down for a good while with the repairs, we had to rent the office trailer and the generator and the fuel and everything goes along with that. So, but that is just a touch of, we had some major expenses this year, but again, it's because we're in an old building and some things that we defer every year that we finally have to pay for. So, and I have a list of those. So I think those fans, what's that?
Sean, the clock has expired. Sorry, Vito. Sean had your 3 minutes running.
Okay. I have terrible peripheral vision right now, so I got tunnel vision, so it's,
No worries at all, but thank you.
That's why I told Councilmember Dixon, I need like a red light over here so I can, so I can
'Cause
flash
you can't
because I'm
see.
facing this way, yeah.
Yep.
So all I'm staring at is the fire extinguisher at the end of the hall pretty much, so it's.
Gotcha. All right, thank you, Mr. Tonelli. Over to Major Dickerson for Public Safety.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have nothing to report at this time.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. He gave his time to Vito. Officer Reinhardt.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilor. Just have a couple announcements. I wanted to give a special thank you to the Mayor and Council. Behind Bladensburg Elementary School, there's a blighted storage property back there, and with the council's help and the chief's help and our help, it's finally down. That safety hazard has been removed from that property, and so that's been going on for 4 or 5 years that I could been working on trying to get it going. And matter of fact, just make one phone call, said, okay, we'll come do it. And they kept their word and they came, did it the next day with a couple minor glitches that day, but it's removed. And the other thing I want to just report on is summertime's here, school is getting ready to get out. I just want to remind the residents that we do have a noise ordinance that is in effect 24 hours a day. And especially with the summer months, the noise is going to travel farther. It's going to sound a whole lot louder than it really is. But I just want to remind them at night, be courteous of your neighbors. Our police department, our code staff, we do have sound meters. We are more than willing to come out and check and test the area, make sure you're not in violation of any of the noise ordinance. I forgot to start it for myself, but it's okay. I'm almost done.
Wait.
This is my last thing. I saw the look on the faces. So I'm almost. I'm sorry, Vito. But other than that, those are the couple things. Just the noise ordinance and the blighted property that was behind Bladensburg Elementary School. That's been taken care of, and that's my report. Yeah,
Great.
I claim the rest of the major's time.
Right. Thank you, Officer Reinhardt. Over to, Councilmember McBride has a question.
Mr. Reinhardt, will that include a notice going out for fireworks?
I will make sure, and I work with the police department and I work with Mr. Jeffries, that we do put out a notice to the residents about fireworks. And we'll also see if Mr. Gray could put something on our cable channel also. Again, being in close proximity with the District of Columbia where they allow the fireworks, a lot of people do cross the line and come over and set them off in the town of Bladensburg. And I don't want to speak on behalf of the police department, but I do know in the past that on the 4th of July, the police department has increased patrols for the 4th of July. But I'll let the major speak to that one.
Certainly, I can speak on that. So in terms of getting the message out to the public, we will put something out via social media to let everybody know what the laws are, and everybody needs to abide by those laws. And we will have additional personnel out there to enforce those laws as well and respond to those calls for service as we do every year. So, yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you for that question and for providing that information, Major, and thank you, Officer Reinhardt. So we don't have a town clerk report, so Mr. Hall will come to you for Public Works.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, residents, audience. My report, I believe, basically we done been through it a little bit, but we do have some other stuff. We've been working with CCAR with Ms. Patricia. We've received 50 trees, and we will start planting all of them tomorrow. Okay, and also we got some, thanks to Ray and Michelle, we've got 6 new trash cans, so we're putting them in a designated area where we had the old trash cans at like the Port Town little square trash cans, so we're replacing those.
Marlon, I think those trash cans are older than you. Like, the End Time Harvest put those things out like 20 years ago when you were probably way too young to remember. So, Mr. Hall, thank you. That's huge. Yeah, thank
Ray
you,
and Mr.
Town
Michelle,
Administrator.
We think that, and also we finished up our last 2 crosswalks, LED crosswalks, and we installed them on Newton Street, 5200 block of Newton Street. So that concludes my report. Any questions, Mayor and Council?
Thank you for getting those up. They look so good in the community, and it's nice to see people crossing safely with those blinking stop
Well,
signs.
we're participating in getting a few more for the stop signs, you know, 'cause
Okay.
just to go through the town a little bit, you know, you need at least about another 10 more.
At least. At least. We'll take as many as you'll get us. All right. Thank you, Mr. Hall. And last but certainly not least, Town Administrator.
Mayor, Council, I submitted a report, but I just want to take a minute to just thank a couple people for the work that was done this week with the American Bloom. I don't even know, this is not an order of importance, so I'm just going to make sure that I get everyone or in any kind of order. It's more the fact I just want to thank everyone. Ray Jeffries has been amazing over the last few months and getting a lot of things done around here, and I don't think I give him enough credit for getting as much done as he does. I just kind of go in his office and say, hey, Ray, can you do this? And I'll just like, he'll get it done. So thank you, Ray, for all the work that you've been doing. Our administrative team, Jessica, Vito, and Christina have been really helpful on making sure that I had all the money and everything taken care of for this, just the standpoint of like getting checks paid out to people and getting all of like the stuff it took to get everything together, like hotel rooms for the panelists and getting those kind of things together. It was a lot. Purnell and his team have been amazing at putting together a lot of stuff that I know has been like over in some ways that his head, from the standpoint that I've asked him to do more than I probably have asked anybody to do that's outside of their comfort zone, especially in regards to a lot of the plantings and trying to get a lot of stuff done. And then also they did a wonderful job across the street, if no one has noticed it, of painting the front of the police annex. They've just started, it's not complete yet, but getting like curb appeal, things like that kind of done is so important. So I'm talking into the mic so that because it tells me I fall out of it. Chief Collington, I want to make sure that I thank him for and Chief Sumner for the public safety session they had with them, with the American Bloom group. That was great. And not last but not least, because he did a ton of getting everybody around and giving them the best tour ever, Mr. Sean Reinhardt, the tour guide extraordinaire of Town of Bladensburg. He can answer any question you want back about whatever house or wherever. I mean, he rode with us for the last 2 days and did an amazing job, and I'm learning it. I'm learning 2 different tours. I'm learning Sean's tour, and I'm learning Don Linebaug's tour at the Boswick House, and I want to thank Don Linebaugh and Amen Trust for coming, and the council for showing up on the boat ride. And again, also to thank Anacostia Watershed for that great opportunity. And thank you, council, for coming out to the different events. And then at last but not least, I wanted to thank the police department at the very end for the graduation ceremony. I sent a personal note to Tanksley. I'm tough on Tanksley, I'll say that. And I'll say that I was really impressed by the level of love that, one, he has for what he does, and two, what the people have for him. And it's just really obvious when you kind of see it. It was sort of like a love fest between all of them, and I had never really seen something like that in my life in a police department thing, and I thought it was very, very good. And I always want our people to do more and to be organized, and I just really feel like he really hit that out of the park. And the chief, and I know that everybody's been mentoring him in the department and all the department being there, but I did want to take a moment to say how moving that was for me to watch, just sitting in the back, that level of knowing every single person, about every person there, and his level of commitment. And that's when you see that kind of work, you have to say something. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Give everybody a round of applause. That was a long list, but well-deserved. Yes, thank you for acknowledging everyone who contributed. And so at this time, we'll transition to the mayor and council reports, beginning with Councilmember McBride.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I want to say good night. Well, first of all, I attended the police awards gala at the winery. It was very beautiful. I truly enjoyed myself. I attended the Bladensburg Citizens. I was a participant in the Bladensburg Citizens Academy, and I said I have a new level for my appreciation for the police department and going through the various things, the various trips that we had to go on to. So it truly enlightened me. I'll tell any citizen in Bladensburg, you should truly take this class. Police are not what you really think, and they do have a heart. Let's see. Did take the boat ride, the boat tour with the American in Bloom. Awesome experience, and I saw a lot. And we have a wild rice field growing. Yes, wild rice. I attended the Memorial Day service. It was truly awesome. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilmember McBride, for your report. Now we'll go to Ward 1, Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor James. Hello, residents, staff, and everyone. Thanks for joining in this evening. So I'm going to highlight a few things, and then I want to talk about the mental wellness piece. But I attended Memorial Day, attended the recognition ceremonies, PGCMA, budget meetings, movie in the park, just a host of events. But on May 29th, we held a mental wellness day at the Public Playhouse, and I definitely want to say thank you to the staff for the very hard work that they put into helping to organize and coordinate this event. And it was the panel discussion, the film screening, and panel discussion. So some of the speakers, we had Dr. Yvonne McKenzie. So she's a licensed and board certified psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. We had Senator Malcolm Augustine. He was there speaking to us from the state side, because mental wellness is very, very, very big. Very, very big with Senator Malcolm Augustine. So he was there giving the state perspective. We also had Mr. Dwayne Brown. He was the writer, filmmaker, and talked about the movie. He won the Maryland Best Director for the Maryland Film Festival, filmmaker for the Maryland Film Festival, and his actor won Best Actor for the Maryland Film Festival as well. The chief of police was there, so we wanted to also have that perspective from the police department, when the chief was talking about, hey, what happens when the officers arrive and someone is experiencing a mental health crisis, and also the training that our town of Bladensburg police officers receive when under the mental wellness piece. Also, we had Mr. Oscar Morgan. He's the executive director of the Dana Institute. We had Miss Bradley Wimbish. She's a licensed clinical social worker. So we really wanted to have that diverse panel, and we also had the acting Sergeant Tanksley there as well with the Bladensburg Police Explorers, and they did an amazing job as well when they were just talking about the Police Explorers program and how it helps them with their mental wellness. So they spoke very, very well. So we were very proud of them. A host of residents. We had a little over 100 people in attendance that day. Yeah, so it was very well attended. We also had NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. They were there. Yes, and we also had another organization, Preventive Measures. They serve people with mental health and home care needs. So I would like to say, and with the host of residents, but they wanted to continue. They wanted to continue the conversation, and that was really well, because we also had the residents come up and ask questions of the panelists. But I will say that if anyone, any family member, any family member, friend experiencing mental health crises, tell them to dial, or you all dial for them 988. So that number has been put in place for us here, and that's for them to dial 988. I know that my time has expired, but it is definitely mental wellness is very real, and I'm just glad to see that there's more attention and being brought around the mental wellness.
Thank you for that report, Councilmember Brown. And next, we'll come back over to Ward 2 with Councilmember Blunt.
Okay. I just have a couple announcements or suggestions. If you're a business that's located in Bladensburg, nonprofit or entrepreneurship, and you want to just let us know in the community what you're doing, or let the town know what you're doing, so you all can get into a group and start reaching out to the youth in the community about the organizations that you do here. Also, I can't wait to meet with, I couldn't think of his name. Yes, meet with you on your endeavor. That's great. I love it. Can't wait to talk to you. And also, thank you, even though I know the CATS team deal with the same children, but bringing that Police Boys and Girls Club to Bladensburg is going to be awesome, because it's another outlet for children to do different things and experience different things through the Police Boys and Girls Club. And again, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Blunt. And next, we'll come over to Ward 1 with Councilmember Dixon.
Thank you, Mayor James. Good evening, Mayor, and I'm speaking up. Good evening, Mayor James. Good evening, Mayor James, and Council. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to our residents. I just have a few. I sat in on a CFR webinar where they talk about the avian flu breakout and trying to prevent the next pandemic. I actually sat also on the MML Lunch and Learn webinar, and sat on a EDC municipal webinar. They had a presentation about the number of youth that are homeless in Prince George's County, like over 1,656 youth that are experiencing homelessness in Prince George's County, and as many as 42,000 youth may be also at risk for homelessness. I sat on the CBC webinar as well, where they talk about water, workforce, and preparation for the Chesapeake Bay Awareness Week. I attended the PGCMA meeting, which was on Zoom actually, and also the Memorial Day ceremony. I did the Boswick House tour with the American Boom team that was here, which was very informative. Stopped by Community Day at Council Members Brown Church as well. I attended the Port Town Sector Plan and Community Workshop, and also sat on a Zoom meeting regarding the Prince George's Village community. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Dixon. And I'll be brief. For PGCMA, we had our elections in May. Want to congratulate Councilmember Brown for being elected to the board to an at-large seat for PGCMA. Thank you for stepping up to serve. May was an abbreviated month for me. As most know, my father-in-law passed May 8th, so we were out of pocket for a bit with that, work travel and the like. So I did have the opportunity to still attend a couple of planning meetings with Councilmember Dixon on the Bladensburg Boys and Girls Club, and we're committed to getting that off the ground, having some athletics to get it off the ground, but also some more activities that get into creativity, social, emotional development and learning. So we're balancing out our young people and planning to launch in the fall rather than rushing it for summer. So looking forward to that. Attended the mental health event that Councilmember Brown spoke about, as well as Movie in the Park. And just continuing with all the other activities, Brothers Green Team. We'll be getting the neighborhood watch group activated now that the weather is nice and I'm not traveling so much. So look forward to hopefully getting a walk together this weekend to kick things off. So look out for that. But that completes my report for the month of May. And with that, we are now at, I believe, the end of the agenda. So I will call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Dixon. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Brown. Any comments or questions before the vote? Hearing none, all in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. We're adjourned.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye. Good night.